Good morning. Oh, it's so nice to hear a response to that after all these many months. It's wonderful seeing at least the top half of your faces. Welcome to Southminster Steinhauer United Church, where we're spiritual seekers, united in community, and we're so glad that you've joined us as we create community together with one another, however it is that we're together. Whether in person or online, wherever you find yourself right now, in whatever physical space or whatever soul space you're in, we're with one another to sing and to pray and reflect on the life that is within us and around us, seeking what we need to find our way home to living compassionately, authentically, and faithfully to the breath we've received. In the midst of all that life is just now, on the edge of summer, with the first long weekend of the season on this May 22nd, 2022, we give ourselves and each other the gift of this time we share in this space we create together to still our minds and settle our spirits. Seek peace and wisdom as we share music and moments for meditation, readings, and time for reflection. Whoever we are, all sexualities, all backgrounds, all genders, all religions or none, all abilities, all ages, all colors, all people, we welcome one another. We need one another. We are family with one another. The land that holds us, nurtures us, opens to feed us, it's storied land. Land that's witnessed and weathered so much. Land that holds our generosity and our greed, our compassion and our cruelty. I invite you to take a moment to think about the place you call home, and those who've called it home for generations long before us. The indigenous of our land, the first to learn the wisdom of its teachings. And as we respectfully acknowledge this heritage, we do so not just to acknowledge it, but to renew our commitment to live in more healing and reconciling ways, whether we're treaty people or, as some of you online, are living in unceded territory. Terry Tempest Williams reminds us, if we listen to the land, we'll know what to do. If we listen to the land, we will find our way with one another, toward one another. We're continuing our series today, Finding Our Way Home. We've been learning from the rivers, and last week from the stars, and today from the wisdom of the trees, the family of the forest that breathes with us in this great exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, in the reciprocity that reminds us that we're family not only with our own species, but with all the plants and creatures with whom we share this amazing planet we call home. We sing ourselves into community today as we gather, and you can take the invitation literally and come in and sit down, or you can take the invitation figuratively and decide that your body needs to stand, but it's totally up to you. As we light our candle here in this community, we invite you, wherever you are, at home or wherever your travels have taken you today, to light a candle with us. If there was ever a time for light keepers, this is it. Those who trim and tend the wicks of life. Those who won't fail to see the injustice and the pain of life, but will refuse to be overwhelmed by it. Those who won't whitewash the reality with privilege or platitudes. Those who will witness the daily sacraments, the hidden beauty, alongside the terrors and the tragedies, without surrendering their light, without allowing the disorientation of lostness to consume our light. When we light our candle, we join the light of a new day as a symbol of our intention to live in the ways that seek light and reflect light and honor the light in others. So we light this candle, or you have lit the candle in your space. Attention to turn toward better words and better ways and deeper courage and greater compassion. And we, in exchange, receive this light as the grace of a new moment. And as we do each time we gather, we take time to strengthen our intentions, to focus our words and our intentions on the ways that we would wish to live and the world we wish to live in and make with one another. And so we pray together, offering these words with one another. We pause with each other to open ourselves to the wisdom of our senses, the wisdom of our stories, the wisdom of our tradition and our inner wisdom. May we sense the sacredness in us, in each other, and in the wonder of our planet. May we be moved to shoulder one another's burdens, share each other's joys, and empower one another to live with love, respect, and compassion. With trust that we can find our way together, we work and pray that it may be so. As so much wisdom, whether we are small people or tall people, so much wisdom for each of us in children's literature. And so we invite the child within each of us to come in your mind to the story carpet and stay in the comfort of your seat. And we'll share together, a time for all ages, a story entitled The Happiness Tree. It's by Andrea Albin Goslin, and wonderful illustrations by Lisa Burnett Bosey. The Happiness Tree. It's celebrating the gifts of the trees we treasure. We just need to cycle back a couple. Maybe one more back? Yeah, that looks like what I'm looking at. Everything good begins with me. The acorn told its mother tree, and drifted on the dancing leaves to find a cloak of golden leaves. Protected from the windy snap, the acorn shared a winter's nap. With dreams of saplings growing wild, a treasure tree for every child. Above the seeds, old nature stirred, but deep beneath, the earthworms tilled and dug long tunnels through the soil with crops of roots in constant toil. When spring arrived, the seeds awoke and gave the gritty ground a poke, then sprouted in the fragrant air, among the elders standing bare. From tender stem to sturdy trunk, each tree revealed its leafy spunk and welcomed friends to nest the crown as summer's sun and moon shone down. Warm wishes sowed the greening land, and flocking birds rejoiced the stand, and sang a story that uplifts the tale of 10 trees' simple gifts. These 10 trees, as we celebrate this week of greening, everything leafing out. I'm the tree of hope. I welcome morning's ringing light, dream with crescent moons at night, expect the joy that rainbows bring, anticipate unfurling spring. I begin. I'm the tree of love. I hold a pair of doves aloft, nurture nestling and new, treasure friendships tried and true. I adore. I'm the tree of courage. I brave the storm and bend, not break. Sure, the fearless sun will wake, even when my branches lurk, bearing steady blue jays perch, I endure. I'm the tree of gratitude. I give my thanks for rainy days, cotton clouds crowned with rays, refreshing air the forest clears, quench my thirst as summer nears. I appreciate. I'm the tree of peace. I balance my beloved friend in quiet spots where spirits mend. Below the bunting patient's home, come contemplate the paths you roam. I renew. And I'm the tree of compassion. I understand the planet's woes. Pray from dawn till daisies close for kindness, blessings, and rebirth of all that's good for Mother Earth. I shelter. I'm the tree of tolerance. I reach out in freedom's name, respecting no two are the same. The different ways we grow and live, mistakes we make and still forgive. I accept. I'm the tree of generosity. I send the critters winter's green, springtime's dazzle in between, shade for summer's picnic lunch, autumn pods for feet to crunch. I provide. Here's the tree of honesty. I surrender strong and true, build a bridge from me to you, revealing great integrity in honor of a trusted tree. I open. I am the tree of happiness. I create a world of joy around the laughing girl and boy. Underneath the boughs of trees, celebrate my majesty. I delight. Everything good begins right here. The children in the circle cheer. And with this wish, a forest in scope is growing from one seed of hope.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to be here amongst my tree family. So we're going to take a moment and feel what it is to be like the trees. So we remember that we are here rooted in this earth amongst community, that we are just like trees and we are always breathing with them. So if it feels right, you might check with your body and see if you want to stand up for this. Wherever you are in this room or dotted all around the city on your screens or perhaps outdoors. And we'll remember that we are like the trees. And so each time we breathe through this moment, we know that we are breathing with our tree siblings. So you might relax your gaze or close your eyes, coming into this moment now. Rooting your feet firmly into the earth. Knowing that your roots are here, connected with each other, finding our community. You might breathe into your legs, feeling their strength, holding you up high. You might breathe into your spine, feeling yourself straighten up towards the sunlight. Breathing with the trees. You might breathe into your belly, holding your trunk firm against the wind. You might breathe into your arms, extending your limbs like branches, out to touch your neighbors, your friends, your community. You might breathe into the crown of your head, feeling sunlight touch your leaves. And if it's right, you might sway gently in the wind amongst your tree family. Knowing that each time we breathe, we are breathing with the trees.
You have an option, and I won't hold it against you if you choose to go to Kids Spirit rather than staying here. I understand they're going to get to go out amongst the trees, so I won't look, and you can make your way as we sing.
We shades of green that hold the sun. With mingled roots, our limbs together, we are the many and the one. We are the waters, each small drop of rain, life's morning blooms and stream-filled sea. We are the blood that flows in living streams, to live and die that all be free. This circle opening moves with deeper faith, our lives to birth a living dawn. As love renewed turns in our common way, creating hope, we carry on. Our healing love, our hands reach out and touch the cherished body, the quivering mind. Our lives like grass, like bread, like falling rain, the ordinary, our sublime. Oh, truth is tough, spun web as hard times come, and much be lost or taken away. We struggle not for things that best be gone. Integrity rewebs our way. This circle opening moves with deepened faith, our lives to birth a living dawn. As love renewed turns in our common way, creating hope, we carry on.
This is what you might have heard read in this moment, but not what you're going to hear. Sober second Sunday morning thoughts. So here instead is a reading by Frank McEwen called Return. My wish for you is a homecoming in this life. A coming in out of the cold, a drying off the icy rain's touch. In the holy requilary of childhood memory, may you find there the unshakable truth of your preciousness. May you remember the cool and padded graces of your wet feet against stone. Middle of a long night, a single burning light, serving as your peace. May you fold back the pocket, holding your slights, your jilted times, your feelings of betrayal, and discover small diamonds there, created from the crushed coal of your hates and rage. May you taste resurrection without the need of dying for it. In the words of this Irish poet, may we find wisdom for our living. In the world of our fairy tales and classic stories, the forest is often the place where you get lost, at least for a time, and you find companionship with the most magical and mysterious characters. And it's the place that you come back from utterly changed, totally transformed. I don't know about you, but in those moments when I've had the experience of being lost in the woods or lost on a trail or lost on a road, I feel deeply disoriented. And I lose all of my trust in my memory and in my instincts. And everything starts to blur, and all the trees start to look alike, and the path looks different than I remembered it, and the intersection's not familiar, and the direction isn't obvious. And a kind of panic sets in, and I start to pivot from position to position, just getting more uncertain and more disoriented. There's a very real sense in which it seems that our species is lost in the woods right now. It's like we've lost our bearings, and we've lost our true north to our best humanness. And we find ourselves in this densely wooded place we can call by many different names. We can call it polarized, or racialized, or deeply divided, or lost. And as I've been thinking about our lostness, I've been remembering these vignettes in the Jesus tradition that could really be called the lost and found department of the Bible. Like there's a collection of 3 stories about being lost that get stitched together, and they're found only in one of the 4 Gospels. And the first story we're given is a story about a shepherd searching for a sheep that somehow got separated from the others. 99 are safe, but one is lost from the others, isolated somewhere. And as the story goes, the shepherd doesn't give up until he finds it and reunites it with the others. And then there's a second story that comes right on its heels. There's a story about a woman who's lost a coin, and she turns her house upside down to find it. And when she does, she throws a party, because it isn't enough by herself, alone. She needs the community to share her relief and her joy. And then there's a story well known to us about a family, a parent with 2 children. And it begins like every family story, with a family tree. It begins, there was a father who had 2 sons. And the younger treats his father as though he wished him dead by demanding his inheritance early. It's like saying, I wish you were dead, give me my money. And he takes it and he leaves, and he loses himself trying to find himself in the good life. And we've all lived long enough to know that there's really no such thing as a family tree for any of us. We all live in a family forest, in the thick and the thicket, that dense jungle of generations of relationship. And this story of a lost child is a perennial story. It's a story about a parent who loses one of their 2 children to the choices that child made. And the father doesn't go searching for the child. His life goes on in the heartbreak of a fractured family until, to everyone's surprise, the youngest son finds his way home again. Each of these three stories, the shepherd who finds his sheep, the woman who finds her coin, the father who finds his youngest son, each of these stories ends with a party. But the story of this family, unlike the other two lost and found stories, it doesn't have a tidy little ending. Instead of the fairy tale ending where all is well and everyone lives happily ever after, we get a cliffhanger. The firstborn son that the father could always count on appears with his rage and resentment just in time to ruin the reunion. That invisible elder brother who hasn't been seen since the first sentence in the story that told us the father had two sons, he shows up in the story just in time to mess up the happy ending. This is how it goes. Now the elder son was in the field, and when he came and approached the house, he heard music and dancing. He called one of the servants and asked what was going on. The servant replied, "Your brother's come. Your father's killed the fatted calf because he got him back safe and sound." Then he became angry and refused to go in. His father came out and began to plead with him. But he answered his father, "Listen, for all these years I've been working like a slave for you. I've never disobeyed your commandment. Yet you've never given me even a young goat that I might celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours came home, who's devoured your property with prostitutes, you killed the fatted calf for him." And the father said to him, "Son, you're always with me, and all that is mine is yours. But we had to celebrate and rejoice because this brother of yours was dead and has come to life. He was lost and has been found." I don't know about you, but whenever I hear this story, I want to urge that elder brother to just suck it up one more time. To just let his parents be happy for once. Don't leave an empty place at the table tonight. Just tuck your principles in your pocket and go to the party. And then tomorrow at breakfast, you can put it all out on the table and sort out what it's going to take to be family again. But 2/3 of this story is spilled on the problem child. What else is new? Wouldn't this be true of most families? Most of the energy is expended on the troubled child, the rebellious one, the lost one, the one with the drug problem, the one in trouble. Most of the ink in our newspapers is spilled on scandal and stupidity and secrets and lies and disasters and accidents and war and acts of terror, the problem areas of our common life. Most of the energy of organizations is spent on people and situations that cause us the most difficulty. 2/3 of this story belongs to the problem child, the part we didn't read today. And generally, he gets to lay claim to the title, too. After all, isn't this the parable of the prodigal son? Because the younger brother is always destined here in this story to play the lead, and the father has a strong supporting role, and the mother's never seen or heard from, let alone the sisters. And the older brother makes this little cameo appearance with all of his speaking lines left to that final scene. So no matter where his brother is, whether he's leaving home or he's lost or he's returning home, he gets all the energy, all the ink, all the attention, all the air in the room. And isn't that the reality behind our headlines too? whether it's world news or national news or the family gossip, something in us gravitates to that which is lost on us, or lost to us, or lost from us, or just lost. And sermon after sermon on this story has celebrated that lost son coming home to himself. And we've beat up on that elder brother, and we've made him the villain of the story, the one who remains reluctant to put his feet under the same table with that one who's caused all the deep hurt, the one he just can't understand. And although that older brother never left home, in the final scene, the homecoming really depends on him. It depends on whether he can find a higher place in his heart, beyond his fear and his resentment and his anger. It depends on whether he can come home to a generosity that might mean he'll be taken advantage of again. It might even be misconstrued as easy forgiveness. But really, how the story ends all comes down to whether he can take an uncomfortable place at a table that might have the potential to turn the famine of resentment into a feast of understanding. It might end the exile of stony silence that kept him angry and isolated by coming home to the conversation that could open to compassion. It's a story that invites us to hear what is being invited to come home in us. There's no guarantee in this story that that younger brother won't cause more hurt and harm. And there's no certainty he's changed or that his remorse is genuine. There's nothing except that he's returned, and that has brought joy and relief to his father and his mother. But his brother will never know what's possible if he doesn't come to the table. In the story, he's being invited through the dense forest of his hurt and his hostility to sit with his hatred until he can feel the fear beneath it, and then sit with his fear until he can feel the compassion underneath it. Somehow the father was able to do this more easily than his firstborn son. And maybe it was because the elder brother had the additional burden of not only his own betrayal, but also knowing how deeply his brother had hurt their parents. Many of us have a relationship like that in our lives. A complex relationship with a web of hurts and betrayals that keeps us on the porch in our anger, just outside the door where compassion lives. It's an unfinished story in the text, because in some ways, it is each of our stories. We're somewhere in each of these characters. We're in a plot that keeps calling us out of the woods, inviting us to the party, inviting us to take our place at the table. And we're all of these characters. We're the one on the run from ourselves. We're the one who feels responsible and resentful and right. We're the ones who can't begin to understand the other. We're the ones who are desperate for everyone to make it home safely, to share a table and to share trust, to embrace respect and kindness, to see both the forest and the trees. And so we keep writing the story's end. We keep finding our way through our mistakes and our missteps, through our hopes for a better world, a more fair and equitable table, where we can take our place with each other. And we keep finding our way home through the forest of our hurts and our resentments, to be part of what it takes to change the table from its polarized and divided sides, from its hierarchy that has a privileged head and a trampled foot of the table, to round the table into a place where we can all find home. So I invite us to take these few moments with each other to think about how it is we might find our way through the trees, through the stories, to the home where we want to live. An invitation, particularly for those of you who are at home, an opportunity to gather on Zoom to have a bit of conversation with each other about our theme this morning, to have time to reflect and chat with one another and share experiences and thoughts with each other. So you'll find the link on our website, and please feel welcome to come and have conversation. Nell Owens will be your host, and we invite you to have this time in which you can gather in a safe way online. And Zoe has an invitation for us.
Thanks, Nancy. What a great day to invite you to Forest Families. So if you have a child or a young person, if you are a grandparent, a parent, an aunt or an uncle, or you've just got a little one in your life that you really care about, Saturday, May 28th, will be the second Forest Families this month. So little ones, if you can rustle up an adult, or adults, if you can rustle up a little one, we invite you to come to Victoria Park, 9:30 to 11:30. Allison and Mia will host you for some time amongst the trees.
And I could now be showing you an image of this room filled with stuff, and the foyer filled with stuff, and the small hall filled with books. And it would be called our annual garage sale on June 25th. So it's time to be cleaning out your closets and getting things ready to bring over here, and then talk your friends into buying them. And if you can help us get ready for the sale, there's a sign-up sheet on the whiteboard just outside the child care room. If you can help sometime that week, or in a few time slots that week, or on the day of the sale, we welcome whatever help you're able to give. And we thank you for the ways you give your time, and you give your talent, and you give the gift of your presence by being here with and for one another, and also for the ways that you're able to support us financially. And you'll see on the screen opportunities and ways that you can do that, including purchasing grocery cards that are available through the office and are often available here in the foyer on Sunday mornings as well. We're going to sing about that welcome place that each of us is invited to at the table. As we begin to take our leave of this circle with one another, we sing.
For everyone born, a place at the table. For everyone born, clean water and bread. A shelter, a space, a safe place for growing. For everyone born, a star overhead. And we will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, we will delight when we are creators of justice and joy. A place at the table, a voice to be heard, and words in the song. The hands of a child in hands that are wrinkled, for young and for old, the right to belong. And we will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, we will delight when we are creators of justice and joy. For the unforstrained, a place at the table, a covenant share, a welcoming space.
You can sit or stand, it doesn't matter. We know we're not out of the woods yet, but we know how to make our way, and we know how to make our way toward each other. We know how to make our way together. We know how to take our light and not extinguish it, but change it into the collective energy of who we are. Our light has not gone out, it has just changed the form of energy in which it will now express itself. And so we go to express ourselves in compassion and kindness, finding the higher place in our hearts, being willing to be taken advantage of, being willing to open ourselves to what is possible when we all come to the table.